Hello, everybody, and welcome to this stream. I'm happy that you are here. So, in this stream, I want to give a preview of a project that my team and I have been working on these past several weeks or months, even. And let me share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Share screen. This one. So now you should be able to see it. So we're going to talk about Media Library Pro. I see here in the comments that there is somebody who says that there is no sound. Can anybody confirm that there is sound? Otherwise, I'll have to check my cam and mic. It seems good like this. So I'm going to continue. If you don't hear anything, yeah, I'll probably see somebody screaming at me then. Okay, there is sound. Okay, that's good. Let's hide this one. So what is Media Library Pro? Media Library Pro is a set of front-end components that tie in beautifully with our Laravel Media Library package. And let's go to our home site and take a look at the media library itself. Here is the documentation for that. And before I dive into the Media Library Pro, I want to give like a basic introduction to what Laravel Media Library can do for you. I should also say that I'm open for questions or anything. So if you have any questions about the Media Library, about the Pro part, yeah, just let me know in chat. I'll take a look every few minutes or so. So Laravel Media Library is really one of my favorite packages. We use this on every of our projects. And simply said, this package can associate files with Eloquent models. You see that we're already on major version number 9, which means that this is really a package that already had a time to mature. It is really polished, and there are a lot of features baked in. What can this package do for you? Well, it can associate files with media, and this is the simplest thing you can do. You can have a model, you add media to it, and you specify in which collection that should go. And then there are methods to easily pull media out of it. Now, I'm not going to go to the whole documentation. I actually have a little demo application where I can show the basics to you. So we're first going to do 2 or 3 demos of the free Media Library base package, and then we're going to head off into the Pro version of this. Okay, let's start with a simple 101. So I have a route here, and when that route gets called, it will create an article. An article is just an Eloquent model, and I've already prepared it a little bit so we don't lose time with installing the package. So if you want to let your model be media associated with it, you should implement the has media trait and use the interacts. You should implement the has media interface and use the interacts with media trait here. Let's head back to the little demo. So this is just a model. Because we use the trait, the media library trait on it, we have access to add media. And here we can pass it a file that's on disk. I have this beautiful photo of a library in Dublin. And then you can add it to the media collection. So let's take a look and let's see what happens. I have a little artisan command here. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. I'm on a demo version or on an early access version of PHP Storm, so there are some things that don't render as nicely as they should. So I'm going to visit this route. So we're going to execute this and take a look at what happens. So add media to library. We visited the route. And let's now take a look at maybe the file system first. So the media library, it allows you to configure a disk where all your media should reside. If I take a look in the media library config file, then you see that we have a disk name media that we'll use. And in file systems here, we have defined that media disk. It's a local disk error on the, and its root is in the public path media. So let's take a look there. So public media, and sure enough, we have our library file here. And the media library can also create conversions. I have here a thumbnail version as well. As you can see, it's a smaller version of the original one. This is only this dimensions. The original one is much bigger. And you can define conversions that should happen on your model itself. So we have here a function called register media conversions, and we can say, hey, whenever a file is added for this model, also perform this conversion. Now, how do you get through all to the files that are associated with this? Well, it's very easy. We have some methods on article for that as well. So I have a helper here defined on that article last, which gets the last created article. Yeah, it's an article model, and you can get all media of a model by using get media. And here you can see that we have that library picture here associated with it. This is a collection, so you can add more stuff in the collection as well. If you want to have a URL to, or maybe I should first say there's also a helper method called get first media. And it will just get the first media that is associated with the article. And on a media model, you can call stuff like get URL. And then it will generate a URL to the file. If I click here, I see the file in the browser. If I want to have a URL to one of the conversions, I can say thumb. And now I see that thumb file and so on. The media library can associate files on other disks as well. I think we have methods here to media collection on cloud disk, for instance. I'm using the add media here and passing it a path to a file, but you can also add media from request, and then you can handle it from an upload, which we're going to dive in later. Let's see. Maybe to understand that media really gets stored in the database, let's open up database of this application so you can take a look at the table here. So here we have that media model. It is associated with the article. We have a collection name default here. You can actually store files in separate collections and treat them a little bit differently, but I'm not going to delve in too much details of that. Otherwise, this stream would be very long. And you can see that we store a few other things here as well. Now with that first demo out of the way, I'm going to take a look at the chat to see if there are any questions here. I see that my colleague Jeff is already handling some of the questions. That's good. Okay, let's maybe do a second demo of the base media library version. I'm going to close the database. Yeah. And let's maybe show one of the neat things that you can also do with the free version of media library. I think I prepared a little demo here. The responsive images, which is a really powerhouse feature of the package. How can I explain this best? So whenever a browser downloads a picture, no, I'm going to start differently. I'm just going to call these methods first and just show you it all in the browser, so you have like a practical feel of it. And I don't want to lose myself in explaining theory. So let's first generate responsive images. Let's visit that route. So visit generating responsive images, like that. So we are going to create an article. We are going to add some media to it. Again, that library picture. And we have tagged on with responsive images, which will generate those responsive images. Let's take a look at what was created in the file system. So I'm going to public media, and we have a second media here, and we have conversions here with that thumbnail here, but we also have responsive images. And you can see here that we have a whole bunch of them. We have one that is the same size as the original one. And for each other one, we predict that the file size is about 20% less. So this is like a tiny version of it, and this is like the biggest version of it. And we are going to let the browser intelligently pick the right image for us. Now let's see that in action. So I'm going back to my routes file, and we're going to visit this route in our browser. So I'm going to, sorry about that, visit showing responsive images, and that should open it up in my browser. And I've actually seen that this demo works better in Chrome because I have a little bit more control about how Chrome should react. The DevTools are just a little bit better to demonstrate this. So I'm going to use like a small layout for this, for the first one. So this is what the media library generated for us. It is an image, but it doesn't have a source attribute. It has a source set attribute. And using source set attribute, you can specify multiple images, really. And you can see that we first, for each set, say like, this is the file you can use. And then at the end of an entry, we can say, you should use this if your screen is this wide. So on a lower resolution screen, you will use like the smallest size here. There's also one more thing that gets added here, and that is this ultra small thing. It is a blurry SVG representation of the image. So whenever your page loads, but before the image is actually downloaded, we can already display this blurry size, and this will make your layout not go all over the place when images get added. Now, to show you this, we're going to mimic that we're on a fast 3G connection, which is actually quite slow, but I'm spoiled, I guess, with speeds of internet connections. And let's see what happens. So if I refresh here, if everything's good, you see the blurry version first. And you can see that it downloaded a small version of the image, which is displayed here. If I make this a little bit bigger, then you saw it. There's another download because our screen is now wider and we can show a nicer representation. Chrome is actually very smart that while it is downloading, and I'm going to say it differently. If I make the screen bigger and there is an image being downloaded, but I'm still dragging, it will actually just cancel the images that it doesn't need anymore. Let me slowly make this a little bit bigger. We don't see any cancellations. I might do it a little bit more aggressively. So let's refresh here. And maybe clear this all out. Let's go. Yeah, and now you can see it. Now you can see that all those intermediates were started but canceled because I was dragging this. So those are responsive images. They can save you a whole lot of bandwidth if you use them well. So that's that. Let's see if there are any questions here. Can I use media library for multiple users and models? Yeah, you can. All the files are associated to a model, so every model has its own media. And I guess it works fine in a multi-tenancy application. There's also here a question: how handle thumbnails for X3, X3 retina size? Do I need to create conversions for each size? Well, you could use responsive images for this, and there are actually quite some strategies that you could use, but I'm not going to dive in that now. That could take us too far. Let me scroll a little bit down. I'm really glad you added support for Laravel Vapor. Yeah, well, I'm going to show you that in a bit. Wish you could also have it for Mailcoach. We're also working on that, but that will probably only happen beginning next year. Does responsive images work when you set the size of an image using CSS so it renders a small image, or is it just about screen size? The truth is, I don't know exactly. To my understanding, it just respects what you have in the source set attribute. Maybe it's best if you tweet this question to my colleague Willem or Sebastian, who handles like most of these front-end issues. Always why you wondered why you use Safari. I use Safari because it feels lighter and it seems to be better for the battery of my MacBook. Is blur hash also included in the public media library? Well, we didn't continue with blur hash, which is a new tool to create like hashes for this. We decided that the current solution that we have for generating the blurred version is good enough for us. So we're not going to invest further time in that. So blur hash isn't in the media library. Okay, so if you want to know more about media library, just go to the documentation that we have. You should probably go to the master documentation. V9 is a version that has some little preparations for Media Library Pro in it. Now, on the subject of Media Library Pro, I guess some of you are here just because of the Pro site. I guess that some of you already use Media Library itself. I've already mentioned that we have the docs for V9 here, and I haven't tweeted this, but the docs for Media Library Pro are also already here. So if you want to read about Media Library Pro, just go to our documentation site, go to V9, and you can already read some of the stuff that I'm going to say to you. Media Library Pro, for those that don't know, it is a paid add-on package, and it will offer Blade, Vue, and React components to upload files to your application. This is something that, in my mind, was always missing with the Media Library. It provided some good things on the backend, but I thought, it would be nice if there were like front-end components that just interact beautifully with the media library itself. So you have like a whole experience, and uploading and handling the JavaScript and progress isn't an issue. So media library hasn't launched just yet. And we're not going to launch it today because we still have to dot some I's and cross some T's. We're already pretty far. But yeah, we want to gestate a little to do really the last things already well. We've decided that we want to have like a small test audience that can help us polish it a little bit. And we thought, hey, we already have like this group of awesome people that sponsor us on GitHub. So we thought, hey, it might be nice to give them access first. So they can, they are probably the most eager ones to try it out. And while we think it's stable, it's good to let other people use it as well. So we've decided that we're going to give early access to our sponsors, and I might or we might give access later today or maybe tomorrow. It's a kind of a busy day at Spatie, so I don't know if we can complete it. But early access for sponsors is coming really, really soon. So if you're eager to try out Media Library Pro, consider sponsoring us as well. Now, with that being said, let's go to the demo application of Media Library Pro, which is a separate application. And let's not open that in PHP Storm, but let's open it in the browser first. Let's just take a look at these components first. It's not open Valet, it's Valet open. And here we have it. Now, before we demo stuff, I'm going to take a last look at the chat here, waiting for the pro site. Okay, no questions. I guess everybody is ready to see this. Okay, now, last thing that I'm going to show before showing the actual components themselves is how a traditional upload is being handled. So there's nothing special going on here. This is just a form. We have an input file of type here, and the Pro components aren't being used here. Now, what are the kind of problems that you have with using a traditional upload here? Well, let me get one of my pictures here. Let's do Christophe with his amazing stage trick. You see that we selected a file now, but of course you know that this file isn't being downloaded now. It isn't being uploaded now. The upload only starts when you press submit. And with large files, it is such a shame that you don't take the time to immediately already start uploading stuff so that submit button, so that submit will happen faster. There's also another problem, and this is something that bothers me a lot. I guess that most of you have already had to upload your photo or something else to a site inside of a form, and you forgot to fill in a required field of a form. And of course, when you submit, your file selection is lost. This drives me nuts. This should be handled better. And this is this behavior is like one of the things that made us create front-end components that do this a little bit better. So with that being said, so now that you know the problems of a traditional upload, let's take a look at the first component here, and it's the attachment component. Oh, I should also say that all these components here, so we have an attachment component and a collection component. We have different flavors of those. We have blade components, and these are powered under the hood by Livewire. So you should install Livewire into your application as well. We have Vue components and we have React components, and they look the same. So this is the Vue one, and they react the same. Their API is I think 99% the same of how you can handle them. Okay. That being said, let's go to the attachment here. And let's upload it again. So here I'm going to upload Christoph's stage trick again. And here we have a much nicer experience. We see a little preview, we see the size, we see the name. And you can also remove it if this was like the wrong file, or you can just replace it here, which in this case is more or less the same. And this is like a much nicer experience. And the file has actually already been uploaded. Let's maybe go to the database of this application. So this one I can close. This is Media Library Pro app. So I'm going to open the DB here. If I take a look at media here, then you can see that this is from a previous demo, but just now I've uploaded the stage trick here, and it's associated not with a model of your project, but with one of ours, with temporary upload. So this is associated with nothing in your project at the moment. Let's maybe try to submit this form. And remember, this one is required. If I submit it, then you can see the name field is required, but we have the image still there. So users don't need to upload it again because we already know which file it is. And of course, when I add something here and I submit, then the file has been added. If I take a look at the database, then you see that it is now associated with form submission. This is being done in a controller that is typically in your project. We'll dive into PHP Storm to show you how that works. So that is the attachment component. It's a very simple one, but I think that this is like a much nicer experience for users. Now let's take a look in PHP Storm at how you can use this component. So in this project, I've already installed Media Library Pro. So if we go to composer.json, you see that we have Media Library Pro, the dev master version installed. Of course, we'll tag a stable version as soon as it's released. You don't have to use dev master. That's kind of obvious. If we take a look at the resources of this application and we go to components, no, it's not components, uploads, Blade here, the attachment view, and this is the view that you just saw. So for all that behavior in your view, you should use this component, X Media Library Attachment. You give it a name and you can apply certain rules here, which will be validated on upload. Okay, let's see how you can validate stuff like this. So we're going to go in the app, HTTP, requests, blades, store blade attachment request. This is the one that's being used. And here you can see that we have a name that is required. And then we have a media key here, and you can name this however you want. This corresponds with the name you have on the attachment. Oh, I should switch back to the request. So here you can say that we are going to validate a single media item and that the maximum size in kilobytes should be this. So we have actually a few other validation methods here as well. I'm not going to dive through all of them. They are all mentioned in our documentation. But this is how you would validate a single upload and also multiple uploads. We're going to dive into that in a bit. Let's go to controllers, blade attachment controller. So this is what gets executed whenever whenever the request is valid. Here we're just going to fetch our form submission, and this is just any model. This is just a model in your project. This is nothing from Media Library Pro itself. On your model, you can call add from Media Library request. You give it the key from the request. You say it should be in images, and that's it. And that is all that is necessary to get all of that nice behavior to work. And like I've said, it's more or less the same with Vue and Blade. The backend side of how you validate stuff and how you handle it in the controller is 100% the same. You might wonder how this works under the hood. So let me show you. I'm going to add another file here. Let's do the cheap car here. If I inspect this, then somewhere here, there should be hidden properties. And here you have them. So here we have everything that gets flashed to the next request if the request itself isn't valid. And this UID, this actually references a UID of the media in the database. So we know that when you come back after an invalid form request, then you know that that UID, the media with that UID should be displayed. And I don't know if you noticed it the first time, but in the temporary uploads table, we actually store a session ID. And the media library will never display files that belong or temporary uploads that belong to another session. You just don't want that, and bad things will happen. And even if you don't validate your upload inside of the media library, it will always check that session ID, and that's how that works. Let's go to maybe attachments here. Oh wait, before going to the next component, let's take a look at if there are questions in the chat here. Jeff is already on it for like the obvious and businessy like of questions. Does it handle multiple, the upload to file at once? Yes, it does. Okay. The attachment component is more or less the same as the this is actually just the same component as we saw before, the attachment component, but configured in a slightly different way, so it handles multiple uploads. So let me do Mohammed here and Caleb, and let's upload them both. And here you can see that we now uploaded both files, and it's just the same as the attachment component that you saw before, but we actually accept multiple files here. I think I configured a maximum of 3 here. So let's see what happens if we get the expensive car out. I think it isn't configured for a max of 3. Let's maybe try one more. Maybe I did 5. No, the maximum isn't configured at the moment. But if we go to the database, go to media, you can see that we have those temporary uploads here. And if I submit them, there's still an error. There's still a. This is pretty good. So I probably removed the validation on the component itself, but in the request, there's still a validation of that there are only maybe 3 items here. And you can see that if there is a validation error with one of the specific files, that we show the error message on the specific item. So you don't have to. You don't see this message on top here and have to hunt it down yourself, which is quite nice, I think. So we can go back here. I'm going to remove this one. Now we're at 3. Let's display this, submit. There's another error here. So I actually have some other validation rules here. So the maximum allowed size in total here is 3 megabytes. So let's remove Christoph here. Sorry, Christoph. And let's try to submit it again, submit. And now the form has been submitted. And if everything's good, we have here two form submissions that were added. Now these files here, they could be deleted, and I'll make sure that the media library does that whenever it is safe to delete them. But we also have a scheduled task that you should, or a command that you should schedule in your kernel that will clean up all temporary old uploads out of the database. Because there could be that people just upload stuff and just go away, or just refresh the page, and then they don't have access to it anymore, but it's still remembered as a temporary upload. Now let's take a look in the application of how this looks like. So we are going to the, let's see. Yeah, maybe let's start with the view, attachments. And here you can see the HTML of the form, and we again have that X Media Library attachment component here. And to accept multiple uploads, we can just tag on multiple here. You can again set some rules here, and I think you can add Mike's items here, and then you can upload three items on the front. Let's take a look at how the request looks like. So store blade attachments, multiple request. Here you can see that we're going to validate multiple media now. We should have at least two files. So one isn't good enough. So let's try that. So let's go for the expensive car, submit. You must upload at least 2 items, and this file is too small, so errors all around. But it's nice that they get displayed on the right position, right? Let's go back to here. We have a maximum of 3. The minimum size is 300 KB for the total, and the max total size is this value. Now in the controller, this is handled very easily as well. It is basically just the same as with the blade attachment controller. It just adds from media library request. You call that on the model where you want to associate that media with. You give it the key of the request, of which you use the name here. So that corresponds to the name of the HTML element, to media collection, and that is basically it. So that is the attachments component. Let me head to the browser back again, and let's take a look at the other powerhouse component, the collection component. But let me check the chat first. I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm talking for a long time now. What's this here? Mo Lister. Isn't that like one of the characters that, or names that Bart uses on The Simpsons? Wait, is he harassing you? I'm seeing like a filtered stream here. Let me check on YouTube. This message is held for review, so hide. Molester, my life is great. I guess he's molesting the chat, right? So let's see if we can remove him. Let's see. This is like the first time that this has happened. So, okay. So I hope that you won't get bothered by him again. Let's scroll if we can see some questions. Will Media Library work in the TypeScript React Next.js SPA? Yes, I think it can. These components can be used everywhere in React. So the React components that we have are just normal React components. Okay, let's see. Um, mm, mm, mm. Okay, let's go to Blade collections here. Okay, so the big difference between an attachment and a collection is that we assume that an attachment will be used on a public facing website where you request like files um, from clients, from your clients, but on a how should I say this, where you only want to let others pass files to you and you'll handle the files yourself. The collection component works a little bit differently. The collection component is more meant to be in like an admin kind of area, and you can use this component to administer the contents of a media library collection. Let's see it in action. So I already have like a form here, so I can, I guess, save it. And then now it's demo. If I refresh this, we have demo. And let's upload something here. Let's go for Mohammed here. And you can see that we have some more stuff going on here. We can change the name. We have something here where we can change the order. Let's maybe add something else here, maybe Caleb. Let's bring him back. And here you can, if you submit this, then you can see it is persisted. We're just displaying what is in the collection. I can replace a file here. I can download it here if I want. And of course, I can also change the order. And now Caleb is the first one. Can also change the name here. Hi, Caleb. And that is displayed too. Of course, I can add other files here. Submit, it's there. Let's remove the file one, and it's there. So yeah, it basically just all works like you expect. Of course, you can add multiple files as well. So let's bring out 2 cars here. And this one actually has a maximum of 3. So you're going to see that in the blade view a little bit. So if you saw that already. If I encounter the maximum, then you can see that the uploader isn't displayed anymore like that. Okay, so this is really a powerhouse component, and yeah, we've installed it into one of our big projects earlier this week, and yeah, it just worked. It was just a magical moment. Like, hey, it was so simple to add this now using these components. Now let's take a look at what you should do to get all of this behavior. And again, I'm going to use a blade view now. But for Vue and React, it is more or less the same. Let's go to PHP Storm and go to the collection controller here. And here you can see that, or not the controller, I'm going to the view first. Resources, collection component. So here we have that form defined. And here's all you need to do. It is just using that media library collection component. You give it a name, and you'll use this key in the request to validate it. You give it a model, you give it a collection, you say some validation, and here's that max items. You say which kind of files can be in that collection, and that is it to get all of this behavior. Let's take a look at how you can validate this. So let's go to the request store collection request. And you can see that it is laughingly easy. It is just the same as we just saw with the attachments one. We are going to validate multiple media. There's a maximum and the item name is required. So let's see if that required actually works. Submit. And you can see that we have the right error message under the right field here. So this is nice. And in the collection controller, yeah, it's so simple. you just retrieve the model where you want to associate the new media with, and then you call sync from media library request. You give it a key that you used in your HTML, and you add it to media collection. And that's basically everything you need to do to make all of this work. Now, I can imagine that some people that they would like that there would be other fields here. And in our projects, we've seen that too, that our clients, they want to put like other fields here. So we've made that very easy in all of the components, so in the Blade view and React components. But let me show it to you with the Blade component. So let's first show it. So a collection with a custom property. So here I'm showing the same property or the same collection. That's why you see Caleb and hi Caleb here. But here there's an extra field. Hi everybody, something like that. Let's save it. And of course, you can have validation on this as well. And I've configured it that it is required. So if I remove it now, then you see that we have the validation message here as well. Now, let's see at how we achieve this. So let's start with the view layer first. So collection with a custom property. And here we have our media library collection view. And we have an extra problem that we use here, the fields view. And in the fields view, you can pass a Blade view that should be used to render this part of the collection. You can actually overwrite all of the parts. If you want to customize this, there is another view for that as well. But I can imagine that most people will just use it to add extra fields. So I'm going to use uploads Blade partials custom properties. And that view is here, so custom properties. And everything that I type in this view, hi everybody, it should be displayed here as well. So here you see that hi everybody. And if you use a custom field, and if you want to keep the name here, you should include our base view. So in this view, that name field is being used. So if I refresh here, I lose the name, but let's re-add it. And here you can see that it's easy to add an extra field here. We have some classes here, which if you use them, they will render quite nicely. And you can use any input element that you want. And to get like the name and the value that should be used here, you can just call custom property attributes on media item with the name of how this item should be passed on in the request. And this one will actually add the name and the value attribute to your item. And for errors, it's more or less the same. You just call custom property error name on media item, and it will get the name of the full name that is used for this extra field. We tack on the UID of the media here, but you shouldn't concern yourself with that. That is handled behind the scenes here. And then you can use this error blade directive like you're used to, with just outputting message to get the right message. Now let's see how we can validate that. So store blade collection custom property request. You can see it's just the same as the rest, but we have like an extra validation here, and we say that the extra field is required. And you can actually use any Laravel rule here. So I also have here the maximum of 30. So let's see if that works. Sure enough, the extra field may not be greater than 30 characters. So yeah, I think this is like a great feature. So you can add stuff here, any stuff, any form fields, anything that you want, really. What I'm going to demo next. I can't demo it to you because I broke the demo right before the stream. But most of these components, they work on Vapor. They work on Vapor as well. Yeah, I'm not going to take the risk of trying to fix it live. So the Vue components and React components, they all work perfectly with Vapor. So if you upload a file using these components and you've configured our components in a way that they should use S3, then they will ask a signed URL to the application. And with that signed URL, they can upload directly to S3. And after as the file is on S3, then a request will be given to your app on Vapor, which will actually move that temporary file to the right position in the bucket where the media library expects it. Yeah, it's a shame that I can't demo it to you. Maybe I'll just record a video soon and put it out on Twitter for people that want to see that. The only thing that doesn't work on Blade on Vapor right now are multiple uploads via the Blade components, and that's caused because under the hood we use Livewire, and Livewire itself doesn't support uploading multiple files in one go just yet. So I hope that support will come, and if that support ever does, then I'll make sure that I'll update these Blade components as well. We're already almost in it for an hour here. I was thinking about doing like a technical dive of these components as well, but I might do that like in a separate stream to not make this stream longer than it needs to be. If you want to know more about Media Library Pro, just head over to the documentation and go to the version 9 branch, and you can already start reading some of the documentation here. I think, let's do git browse here. I think the demo application that I've used is in a public repository, so you can see all the resources, requests and controllers that I used in this application here as well. Of course, you'll not find the Media Library Pro code self in here, because that is a package that is on our private status. One thing I should also mention that is in our video section, there are videos as well on Media Library itself. And for our sponsors, I've also already recorded a few demos on how the front-end components work. And you can see here that we also have one that explains how it works under the hood. Now, Media Library Pro, I said it, we're not going to release it today. We're probably going to release it mid-November. As you can see, we're already pretty far. We just want to cover some edge cases and polish the documentation a little bit. It will be very fairly priced. I think it will be less at what you pay a typical developer for 1 hour. So yeah, I hope that you liked what you saw. I'm going to end the stream in a couple of minutes. Maybe I'll will I answer questions on stream or off stream? Let's just do it on stream, just for giggles, so everybody can hear it. This is looking great. Will it work with Nova? Well, we haven't focused on Nova too much. These are just plain Vue components, and we haven't made like a bridge for Nova just yet. It depends a little bit on how successful these components will be. If we see that it's a big success, we'll probably invest some time in it and add Nova support as well. But yeah, if you can create a Nova component yourself with Vue and you have Vue license and you have the necessary Vue knowledge, then you can probably make our Vue component work in Nova as well. Let's see. Has the pricing been announced yet? I don't think the pricing has been announced yet. We are discussing it a little bit before finalizing it. I'll probably communicate that maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I actually have the prices in my head, but I don't know if we just have gotten the go on them yet. There will be what will the price be, and can I use the multiple projects? Well, we have two license types. We'll have a license for a single application. We'll also have a license for unlimited applications, and both of these licenses will be very fairly priced. Will this charge per project? Well, you can choose. There's, like I've said, single license. There's an unlimited license for this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Oh, there's one thing that I didn't demo just yet. I see it here, Tailwind CSS styles. Let's jump back and show you that. So you can easily customize the look and feel of these components. Let me open that real quick. Well, open. Go to the collection here. Let's go to CSS, Media Library Pro. Do I have it here? Yeah. So right now, this one is using the styles that we provide in our package. And this basically uses a default Tailwind configuration. Now, if you want to use our styles with your Tailwind configuration, it's easy to do so. You should not import like the distributed ones, but you should use the CSS version of that. And then our styles will use your Tailwind configuration. Or if you want to go really wild, you can just use your own CSS here. Let's take a look and see at how that looks like. So I'm going to, I think I can remove it here because now all styles are defined here. And if I'm not mistaken, these are all a little bit rounded. So let's compile using this one. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Or I should also say that we have Vue 2 and Vue 3 components. So if you're already on Vue 3 yet, you're in luck. We thought of you. Bundle, bundle, bundle. Let's see if that works. I can't resolve Media Library Pro styles here. Yeah, I know that one of my colleagues has worked a little bit on making this shorter. I'm going to leave this for now. I've recorded a video on it. I think if we had like the right Webpack configuration, that this would work, and you saw this one using another layout. Maybe I'll tweet a picture of that a little bit later. Okay. Let's see some last questions here. Are there limits on file types? There are absolutely no limits on file types at all. You can use this for PDFs, for videos, whatever you want. The media library has support for generating thumbnails for PDF files out of the box. And for all other kinds of files, you can specify classes that are responsible for creating the thumbnails that should be used. If there's no thumbnail that can be made for a certain file, then we'll just I think we'll output the extension. If there's no extension, we'll do like the first characters of the name here. But Media Library Pro is built on top of the regular media library, and the media library itself, it can already handle all kinds of files. So you can just throw anything at it that you want. There's an extra minus in the import. Okay, let me see. Media Library Pro. Yeah, this is one of the things that we missed. We've internally decided that the official name that we should use is Media-Library Pro. Now the package, it stays, that's the only place where we can use it in one, because it's a little bit of too finicky to explain to users, hey, the package name has changed. So we're keeping that, but everywhere else we should have Media-Library. Okay, let's try it again. This is like a little bit like mob coding, right? Yeah, I'm already streaming like over an hour now, and if you've ever streamed or pair program before, then you know that after such a time, you should take a little break so your mind can think and see things. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit tired, but let's show this to you. Let's refresh. And yeah, now you see that we use slightly different colors, and everything has a more rounded feel to it. Let's try it with the attachment component. Let's do the cheap car. And here you can see the cheap car. So yeah, this already looks quite differently than what you've seen before. So yeah, I think that is everything that we got. I hope that that you liked what you saw. I'll probably tweet a little bit more about the media library components as we go. Again, if you want to have early access to this, consider becoming one of our sponsors. Thanks for watching, everybody, and until the next time. Bye-bye.